The time is 9:57. I call this meeting to order. Will you join me in the pledge, please? Silas, would you lead us, please?
Yeah. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here today, and for all the different things we're going to look over. We ask for your wisdom and your discernment and just to do your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Okay, please give an announcement for closed section, please.
Thank you, Chair. The board met in 2 items in closed session. The first was a conference with legal counsel regarding to significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2. Report out is no reportable action. The second item was a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, public employee discipline dismissal release. The board voted 4-0 with 1 recusal to adopt the arbitrator's recommendation to terminate 1 deputy sheriff. And the board also voted 4-0 with 1 recusal to reject the arbitrator's second recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Agenda approval.
Would you like to announce the deletion of D1?
Yes, board, it's my understanding that item D1, retirement proclamation has been, is going to be pulled until May 12th to accommodate the recipient.
Thank you.
With that deletion, I motion to approve the rest of the agenda.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
And I have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Is there any public comment? Being there is none, we'll go to unagendized report. Supervisor Ingram, would you like to start off, please?
Sure. I would like to thank Margie's Booknotes, David Teeter, and Mitch Lively of Lively's Performance. On Monday, we went to Sierra Primary School and gave away gently used books. And Mitch Lively put on a little miniature baseball clinic with all the kids there. And then we also went to Furlong High School on Friday as well and did the same thing. It was met with Rhonda Hall with Public Health and other resources for our kiddos. Attended the Milford Food Pantry last Thursday. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I just want to wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day before we reconvene next month. That's all I got.
Okay. Supervisor Hubble.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't here last week because we took the color guard from Big Valley High School down to Sacramento and presented the colors at Ag Day down there at the Capitol, which was really good experience for the kids. The kids also had an opportunity. We met with Megan Hurdle. She's the new director for Fish and Wildlife Services. All the kids got to ask her a question. She probably spent 45 minutes to an hour with us, which was very good with the kids. We also met with Senator Daly. She took them on the Senate floor and got their picture taken on the Senate floor and went over to her office. So that was all good. We went over to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, met with Karen Ross. And so the kids got to meet her and ask questions. She's probably spent an hour and a half with them. So that was really cool. We also met with Assemblywoman Heather Hadwick and went to one of her benefit dinners that night. She provided dinner for the kids. They presented the colors there too. And then we also met with James Gallagher. And kids got to meet him as well as they went to the trade show, which was at the Capitol that day. So it was a great experience. And it was good for the kids to get out of Big Valley. There was one kid, he didn't know how to push the button in an elevator. So we're kind of living through. It was a great experience for them to get to go do those things. So
That's pretty awesome.
it's some of the simple things in life that you never get to experience, and they did, and it was wonderful and good experience. So thank you guys for indulging me to be ready to give those kids an opportunity.
Supervisor Scanlon.
Yeah, on the 21st, I attended a Hunting Lake Valley Recreation Authority pool meeting. We approved next year's budget and the schedule. And then on April 22nd, I attended the California LAFCO 201 training. And also had a phone conversation with Mike Harris, who's the Region 1 District Manager for California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Jeff Stoddard, Land and Wildlife Manager, trying to kind of work out a swamp land to help out the landfill. And so it seems like that's progressing. And then I also I had a couple telephone conversations with Heather Hadwick regarding issues in Assembly District 1. And then I also attended a Westwood High School special board meeting regarding an on-campus assault that took place, and met with the board and discussed the various aspects of that. And then on Friday the 24th, I attended the Child Abuse Memorial Flag Raising Ceremony. And then later today, I'll be attending the Lassen Regional Solid Waste Management meeting at 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Neely.
Yeah, I attended the full meeting, and as we passed the budget is very, very tight, and I hope that everything will go well with that. And that's all I got.
Okay, the 22nd, I attended an agenda meeting. On the 23rd, Donna Stone came up from Reading for NorCal EMS, and myself, Maury Anderson, and Supervisor Neely, we had a great meeting with her. And the 24th, I attended the Children's Memorial Flag Ceremony there at the old courthouse, and celebrate, this is Child Abuse Month, and they've done a very nice presentation. I want to thank them for that. I took my wife on a date, took her to Brooks and Dunn the other night in Reno, and I tell you what, it was pretty chilly, but it was sure worth it. And then later today, I have a Treasury Oversight Committee meeting. So with that, that's my complete report, and we have no public hearings, so we'll go to number 2. Groundwater exploration to Nevada subject.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board of Supervisors, Dale and Norwood, Planning and Building Services Department. So the action is to receive February 17, 2026, letter from the Nevada Division of Water Resources informing the Board of Supervisors of Sierra Pacific Industries applications 94406 and 94407 to export 5,600 acre feet per year of groundwater from Lassen County. Assessor parcel numbers 141-280-025 and 143-050-006 to assessor parcel number 079-200-01 in Washoe County, Nevada. The action requested is to receive the report, and 2, to authorize the chairman to sign a letter to the Nevada State Engineer recommending that the applications be denied until the property owner has secured permits to export groundwater in accordance with Chapter 1701, extraction and exportation of the Lassen County Code, and or to provide direction to staff. So there is a letter from the Nevada engineer to you in your packet informing you of the intent to apply the applications of Sierra Pacific Industries to export groundwater. And we informed Sierra Pacific Industries, there's a letter in the packet that there's an exportation ordinance that Lassen County has that requires a permit to export groundwater. And we received correspondence this morning. I wanted to introduce from Sierra Pacific Industries.
Thank you. Caitlin, what about it? It's like one extra one. I knew I had an extra. Thank you.
Just, let me look at ask a couple questions while you read.
Go ahead.
Galen, you're recommending that we, maintain the status quo until they get the application. Have they actually made the application yet?
I know an application has not been made. So in their letter, they contend that there's a historical practice that the Wilburn Ranch had exported groundwater. There's applications from, I believe, the seventies that have since been canceled in the packet. And so that's their claim. They requested the letter to Nevada be modified, and staff is agreeable with that if the board is agreeable. But we have some wording for that if you wanted to modify the letter. But I can read that if you'd like me to.
Well, what do we have in our hand now?
Yeah, the letter. So they requested that the letter be modified.
Right.
The SBI did. So I have some wording for that if you wish to modify the letter.
I have a question for you. Do we need to modify that letter?
That's up to the Board of Supervisors. It says,
Yeah, go ahead.
So Galen, within this here, there's the state of Nevada, there was already an application submitted back in 79, 80. I mean, way back when. Was that ever developed and all?
I don't know, we haven't had an opportunity to research this. We just received this yesterday, after work yesterday, and got it this morning. So I haven't had a chance to research it. Their claim is that there was an application in the seventies that was canceled by Nevada. And so that's why they reapplied. It's the claim in their letter.
So this application here was dropped or rescinded by the permit?
That's what SPI claims in their letter.
Okay. And then, was this to drill wells on the Nevada side?
No, on the California side, and then export it to Nevada.
Back in the seventies, they were still gonna do that.
The application from the seventies, we have not had time to research it. We just received it, so I can't speak to it.
Okay.
According to the letter, they're extracting water on the California side and then irrigating their contiguous land on the Nevada side.
Right,
So
but
it's
there was,
one ranch, one property.
yeah, but there's an application to the Nevada State Water Resources for to do the same, to drill a well and put water on land back in the seventies. I'm just curious if that.
Yeah.
That was-
And they've been doing this actually been doing this historically.
Historically, the SPI claims in their letter that the Wilburn Ranch did, but that permit was canceled.
Specific to the Wilburn
This is
Ranch.
according to SPI in the letter that they sent this morning, that we received this morning.
I think we need to table this until you can look at everything and come back with a full view of what's going on. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, that's certainly an option. I think that if the board want, I said that's an option. Certainly you could require them to go through the permit process where this would be hashed out anyway. So I think that's what Mr. Norwood's recommending.
Go ahead, Tom.
Is this ranch already a working ranch and they have alfalfa fields and everything?
I
Or
don't,
they're,
looking at the aerial imagery, it doesn't look like it. I couldn't see that.
So Mr. Norwood's at a disadvantage because he just received this letter.
Right.
And my thoughts are that if you direct him to put SPI through this process, then all these answers will be fleshed out.
I think that's what we should do.
SPI representatives also. did.
Okay.
So I think we need to go through, we still need to have a public hearing on this here with what this is, right?
That's not a public hearing.
No, it's not. Okay, well, but anyway. So Galen, in your past experience, because I know that the Bear Ranch kind of did something similar, did something here in Cedarville with the exportations for the egg. Kind of like what's being asked here. How many acre feet were they exporting for irrigation?
It wasn't this much. It was, I believe it was 500, around 500 acre feet.
For how many acres?
For the Bear Ranch,
Yeah. For how many?
I don't know offhand how many acres.
Because with this one here, this application, they're asking for 5,600 acre feet for 700 acres. And that's 8 acre feet a year. I'm sorry, but the growing season ain't that long. That just seems a little bit excessive to me. So, I mean, I'm all for agriculture and moving on, but I think that we need to have that number zeroed down a little bit more. Maybe that's just 700 temporary, if they want that to expand it. I don't know. But anyway, I think we have that zeroed down to 5 my opinion.
Any other comments?
No, like, we've met, yeah.
Like, zero.
Yeah. Do we have the SPI come up?
Morning, I'm Jeremy Higgins. I'm the manager for Sierra Pacific Industries. Not sure exactly what you'd like to hear, but I can tell you about the operations of the ranch.
Okay, Aaron, do you have questions?
Well, that's good. I would like to hear about the operation of the ranch and then also the amount of water you're trying to take for the amount of crops you're going to be irrigating.
Yeah. So the operations of the ranch currently, that ranch is operated at dry farm. Triticale is grown on. It's a local rancher, John Barnum, who operates the ranch. We amend the soil with ash from the Quincy sawmill, and so there's about 800 acres right now on both California and Nevada side that have been developed. The total arable portion is about 1,600 acres that could be farmed on both the Nevada and California side. So the plan right now is to irrigate 700 on the Nevada side and 500 on the California side. What we plan to do is have an integrated system between the two sides that rely on two wells that are existing wells, these wells that were proposed and identified in the maps that you guys see in the supplemental that was provided last night. Those are the applications for the 1970s, the 1980s. Those wells do exist. They currently produce over 1,000 GPM. So it stands to reason that those wells were actually used for agriculture as indicated. I believe that somebody installed those wells and then didn't use them. There's about 8 wells that are on the site throughout. Some of them are historic, like hand dug wells, and some of them are deep wells that go into the bedrock, and some are mostly they go into the alluvial fill and in the valley floor.
So you say, on the Nevada side, you have well permits, you have 2 wells, you say that are 1,000 gallons?
So they're right on the state line. One of them is called the state line well, but they're right on the state line between California and Nevada. They are actually on the California side.
They're in California.
Correct.
That's what I was asking. Do you have any wells in Nevada?
Yeah, we have 1 well in there, last well,
And how much does that produce?
about 1,000 gallon per minute.
1,000, okay. And how many acres are you irrigating in Nevada?
We don't irrigate currently except for 20 acres. It's right next to a neighbor to keep the dust down. We've been working to get the right.
So what are your plans to irrigate in Nevada?
The plan is to irrigate the 700 acres.
700 in Nevada.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
How much you can irrigate in California?
500.
I got a question for Aaron. Wasn't that one well in the valley? Irrigate 700 acres? No.
Yeah, and if you look at the historic maps, what they show is that there were 3 wells that were, 2 wells that were identified that were used for irrigation of the whole property.
I have a question for you. Why don't you drill another well in Nevada?
We're working on the water right for Nevada. So it's public record that there's been some contention between Sierra Pacific and the state of Nevada. There's been some question about the hydrologic model. There were 3,000 acre feet at one time that were allocated as available for a perennial yield. That number was reduced to 1,000 acre feet annually after a Supreme Court hearing that went against the state engineer. And so after that hearing, the value was reduced to 1,000 acre feet annually, which precluded us from our right to.
For your point, from your plan.
And
Basically.
correct. And so subsequently that ruling was backed up by science from the Desert Research Institute using a model that assumes a closed water aquifer system and used phreatophytic, so evapotranspiration out of the plants as the only mechanism of discharge. The geology and the hydrogeology for the site date back to the 50s acknowledge that there's a robust input and output that goes beyond just phreatophytic evapotranspiration. What the data shows, and it's evidenced by the fact that there are springs and artesian springs on the valley floor, is that there is a very robust system, a mountain block system that has deep water. You can tap into it from the valley floor and have artesian water popping up if you go below the alluvial film. So our contention is that the model used by the state engineer is incorrect and it's overly constraining. And so we had a hearing back in January 2021 to go through those details. There are multiple parties to that testimony. And so the desire right now is to be able to pump and monitor to be able to make the case to the Nevada engineer that that water truly exists and get the right to drill the wells in Nevada.
Any other questions?
Yes. So you say that you already have wells on the property. How many was it? That
I think there are 8 total. They're on a map.
eight total on the map, and so they're not sufficient enough to produce the amount of water that you need to for your irrigation now.
So 3 of them are sufficient for the current request. And so what we're asking of Susanville is to just simply not oppose the request by Nevada. So we have put in a permit request to Nevada to be able to apply that water. And that'll give us the opportunity to prove out the hydrologic model that will inform the perennial yield calculation.
So do they have pumps and everything at each of these well sites?
Well, we're gonna end up spending about $6 million to make it all work.
Do they have those 8 wells? Are they have pumps on them right now?
Only one well has a pump on it right now. That's the one on the California side that produces 1,000 GPM.
So and the other ones were
But they're
just drilled and for future use? Or?
it's a large variety of different uses. There's this area dates back to the stagecoach days as watering territory between, transit between Reno and Susanville. There's a dam on USGS.
That's when my
maps.
grandparents came over.
Yeah, so there's a dam on the USGS maps going back to the early 1800s that annotates the holding back of the Dry Valley Creek that runs right through our 4,000 acres. And that was used for agriculture downstream in the California side. Irrigation on this property has existed for about 100 years in some form or another. So some of these wells are hand dug wells, some of them are for residential purposes, and some of them are agricultural water wells.
So are you gonna be drilling some more wells?
That's the hope.
That's the hope. That's my concern. I'll be honest. Because every time we drill a well in California and the water goes to Nevada, we pay the price in our water level. I'm just being honest with you. I had 5 different phone calls last night from South County. And that's their concern. Can I have a comment on that?
Yeah, so this basin is a fairly unique basin, isolated south of Funny Lake by mountain range, isolated from Pyramid Lake by mountain range, and isolated from Red Rock by mountain range. So it sits in its own watershed of about 65,000 acres. It sits on what's called the Walker Lane Fault, which is a very deep bedrock fault system similar to the San Andreas system. That fault system bears a massive amount of water. The current estimate is about 9,000 acre feet annually and could be as high as 15,000 acre feet annually. Those numbers have been cited going back to a document by Smith and Katzenberg in the 1950s. So knowledge of a deep water system in this area that's unique from the rest of Lassen County has been known for a long time. This valley produces not only water from that deep basin, that deep bedrock, but also sits inside of a 65,000 acre watershed. The mountain peaks of those three mountain ranges that drop down into the valley puts a lot of water into this area, which is why there was a dam historically. So this basin does certainly provide a lot of water that flows into Long Valley, but it also has its own unique geology, its own unique water source.
I have another question. You've mentioned the Walker water. Yeah. Isn't there a big lake over in Nevada that's fed by Walker Lake that's just about to go dry?
I'm not aware of
I'm
a
pretty sure there
relationship
is, and
between.
that's water is a big concern.
It
It's
is.
a big concern in Lassen County, and it's even a bigger concern in Nevada. And my concern is water that's not used for ranching going to Nevada for their growth, and it hurts the water table here in Lassen County because that's happened already. Facts are facts. So, can you see my? Can you see my
Yeah, I do. I
concern?
understand your concern. And so, as you guys are, I'm sure aware, a portion of the water that gets land applied for irrigation infiltrates and goes back into the basin. This particular basin drains from east to west into Long Valley. So White Doyle goes north back up to Honey Lake. So they export from the western side of the property in California to the eastern side of the property in Nevada. The excess water still comes right back into California. And in fact, all of the water that California is getting is 100% from Nevada in this instance. So
They don't like that.
right. Well, I mean, like I said before, this is a very contentious issue in Nevada. It's been before the Supreme Court. And so I think the final point to address your primary concern, we also are concerned about the water resources where we feel very good stewards of the land. And the thing that we're trying to work out with the state of Nevada is a monitor and a pump and monitor program. We're not here to pump the water dry and drop it so the downstream users are hurt. Our intention is to install a monitoring system that'll keep track of what the basin is doing. There's many billions of acre feet of water in this one reserve because the basin fill is very deep. It's a unique basin fill. It's about 350 feet deep and it's full of water up to about 7 feet from ground surface. So the potential for us to significantly lower that water table is very, very low. However, locally to the well, what we intend to do is monitor that cone of depression, monitor the overall table, and work with the state of Nevada, and happy to work with Lassen County as well to ensure that the water use, and this is a temporary permit in Nevada, it's not a permanent permit. But the hope is to use the data to derive what the appropriate granular yield is. The part of this whole issue is actually a scientific question. Of course, SPI hopes to benefit from answering that scientific question with agriculture, but at the heart of this matter is a scientific question of what will the basin support. So our plan is to certainly include a large amount of monitoring to ensure that we estimate the actual impacts downstream and frankly upstream if it's upstreams and that's
I have one more question, and Aaron, I'll let you go next. Well, it seems I kind of wonder, why didn't we get this a few days before this meeting?
Well, I think part of it is because I was on vacation and part of it is that we weren't aware that this was going to happen. It happened pretty quickly when Washoe County called for its hearing and then notified you guys. So I apologize for the delay, but
I'll be honest, I'd like for our department to be able to go over this with the finance phone before
Yeah.
I make any decisions.
I think that's a reasonable request, and I'd be happy to.
You know, Galen, I want you to make note of Mr. Higgins, so if the Long Valley ever gets put into Sigma, you need to be on that board, on the groundwater basin board, to develop Sigma, because I mean, it's what a pain in the butt it is. I said on the Big Dog, I said Sigma. Your understanding of hydrology is impressive. You're talking all the right words that we need to keep out of the state bureaucracy thing. So anyway, so good job for you. I want to give you kudos for that. You speak very well.
Thank you.
You know your water, which is good. My next question is, so you use that property there to get rid of your ash from the Quincy mill. Does any of that go to Nevada or is it all in California side?
Yeah, it's a split evenly. Well, according to the acreage, it's split according to the arable acreage between Nevada. We're expanding more into Nevada now. Ash application in California has been cut lower since about 2019. We've been doing more expansion into Nevada since about 2019.
Okay, so that's good. Because the ash is a very good soil amendment. It helps with water retention and infiltration.
Right.
So that's another good thing. You know, we do have a water export ordinance, which is very important to us. And I would encourage you to go through that application and get it. We've done it with other ranchers in the past, and I don't see one reason why this couldn't work for you as well either. And in the meantime, you have 500 acres in California. You already have a well permitted in Nevada for 1,000 gallons a minute. So that's another 160 acres you can start developing out there. You're not going to develop all this stuff overnight.
That's correct.
You're
3
not.
years is the
And
plan.
you can start in California. You've got one pit that you can put in over there on the Nevada side while you're going through this permit process. And so, I mean, I don't see this as being a hardship on you, is going through the permit process, especially, to get we've done it before in the past, and it's a process, and I think it would behoove you to do that. As far as just 5,600 gallons a minute, I think that's excessive to the amount of water you're going to need over there on the additional, 540 acres in Nevada. I mean, that's 10 acre feet a year. You don't need that much. You're not growing that high of crops over there, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking for the alfalfa, the short growing season, you're not gonna use that much water.
Yeah,
And going through the permit process, it'll help fine tune that down, and it'll be much more.
Yeah, I think that there might be a slight bit of confusion. I know that there is 2 permit applications that Galen cited. And I think that the intent with Nevada is that those 2 permits allow use of 2 different wells for the same amount of water. So I think the actual amount is 2880 acre feet annually.
Oh, no, just in the paperwork we've gotten, it
Yeah.
says 5,600 gallons, and so. Anyway, so that's what I'm basing my decision and commentary off of, is what I've read.
And we agree with you. So our position is that currently we can't utilize a well in Nevada because of the obstructions that have been put in the path. So what we have done is we've applied for permits in Nevada. They've informed Lassen County and sought your guys' response, whether there's consent or not. And what SPI is asking is that the County Lassen simply not oppose that request. If there is a permitting process that we need to go through with Lassen County to accommodate that request, more than happy to do it. I'll fill paperwork out today and submit it.
So why can't you use 1,000 gallon well you already have in Nevada?
We don't have a right because the first applicant has right to the water. When we had an issue that went to the Supreme Court in Nevada, the judge directed the state engineer to go back and revisit the allocations. There was a permit that had been approved perennially for about 15 years without actually developing the project. So speculative permitting renewals, which the state the Supreme Court ruled against and said that was not legal. That resulted in the reduction in the perennial yield. And in Nevada, if the perennial yield is reduced below the number requested by applicants, then there's kind of a hold on the permitting process. So we're in the process of working through that with the state. And so what we're seeking with this export permit, since the perennial yield was dropped by the engineer from 3,000 to 1,000, and since we believe that there's a massive discrepancy and the appropriate science to define the basin. What we're attempting to do is to provide water to prove, because it's all one basin. We're attempting to use the water to prove what the appropriate perennial yield is.
Fair enough.
Mr. Chairman,
My question is for Maureen. Just trying to get clarification. They're not, SBI is not applying for a permit here in our county. They're just looking for us to not oppose what they're doing in Nevada. So what exactly are we voting on?
Well, I think what you heard Mr. Norwood say is he wants them to go through the permit process for exportation of water from California to Nevada.
Right.
And I think in that process, you would be allowed to exercise all these questions that you're having, especially since there is a very long history in Dry Valley for exportation of water and for a project that was going over BLM land that was going to take water from there to populated parts of Nevada. And the county spent a great deal of time and resources combating this idea. They, in fact, the board hired scientists to study the aquifer, from seismic refraction studies to all kinds of other things. I think Dr. Lassen was involved from University of Colorado, I believe. Can't remember the other scientist's name, but in short, we were very opposed to that water leaving there and going to Reno, essentially, or Sparks. And at the time, it was it ended up being a battle of scientists and different opinions. But it was the conclusion of the scientists that we had at the time that the water is actually ancient and it's not being replenished, and that extraction in large levels would be mining. And so that's where we were coming from at the time. Is this that? I don't know. We just don't know enough. And that's why Mr. Norwood's recommending that they go through the permit process and we can dust off the old battles and look at those and see if this is similar, not similar, etc.
Thank you.
thank you, Mary.
This is the only time I can say that I'm glad I've worked here 27 years.
Could have the institutional knowledge.
Right. Or not.
Oh, motion.
I'll make a motion to receive the report and authorize the chairman to execute a letter to the Nevada State Engineer recommending that the application be denied until the property owner has secured the permits to export groundwater in accordance with chapter 17.01 extraction and exportation of the Lassen County Code.
Second.
Okay, I have a first by Supervisor Scanlon and a second by Supervisor Ingram. Those in favor? Discussion. Oh, go ahead.
So do you understand what we're asking and looking to get, Mr. Higgins?
Absolutely.
Just wanted to say something. Do you know where to go upstairs to do that?
I've never been in this room, but I could figure that out.
We can help you.
Okay.
So with that, those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Is that good? Me?
You have any?
I do. A opposition on this matter is going to throw a wrench in a process that obviously has gone up to the Nevada Supreme Court and has been quite litigious. I think that Nevada, in some respects, welcomes a denial letter from Lassen County in support of the engineer's previous positions. And what I think SPI would request is rather than a opposition, that the county would consider a conditional approval, effectively not opposing, but also requiring that the applicant go through the permit process in the county of Lassen.
I'm not opposed to that. The process is the important part. And if the denial word needs to be exchanged for suspend, or I'll leave it to Andrew for a better word, but The important part is the due process of going through that
Okay.
process and making an informed decision.
So board, you just voted to issue a letter denying. So if you want to basically amend that decision, you will need to have procedurally, someone needs to make a motion to reconsider the vote. That's part one. Part two is, my read, my understanding of the Nevada law that we are holding this hearing basically to comply with. My understanding, Nevada requires the board have 3 separate meetings to address this issue and before issuing some sort of recommendation. And then, as I understand Nevada law, whatever letter that you submit to the state engineer of Nevada is merely a recommendation, and the state engineer is free to ignore or comply with. And so I don't have, the background to weigh in on whether or not the state engineer would give a whole lot of weight to what we issue here today. But just so you know, as I understand it, whatever we send to state engineer will be, they will be free to consider or not consider whatever they wish to do. Supervisor Scanlon?
Well, I agree with what Mr. Higgins said, and, so procedurally, you need to, amend
I
the
would,
last thing, or just, or maybe strike it, and then do it.
procedurally, it'd be a motion to reconsider the item. You need a first and a second and a majority vote to do that. That's procedure 1. Procedure 2 is if, reconsider the item, and if you want to, basically acquiesce or to, proceed with the suggestion from SBI, I think it would be a motion to, condition, approve project conditioned on, SBI's compliance with the Lassen County's water extraction and exportation.
I'll make a motion for reconsideration. Well, let's start there first.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, now the item's back for your consideration and discussion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to receive the report and, authorize the chairman to, suspend any recommendation. I don't know what it is.
I think,
Wording that they could consider.
sure, I mean, let's let Mr. Norwood, wordsmith, and between 3 of us and that's representative, we might be able to come up with something better.
So if you wish to honor the request, you could strike the last sentence in the letter that's before you. And instead have, we recommend that applications 94406 and 94407 be approved conditioned on the property owner complying with all requirements of chapter 1701 extraction and exportation.
Where are you at, Gary?
I'm on the letter that you're considering. So the second paragraph, the strike where it says until the above required permits is secured by SBI, we recommend that the application.
What page is that?
That's page 3 of 30.
The letter from SBI.
The letter to SBI, or the letter to the Nevada engineer.
Is this Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Okay, so what paragraph?
So the second paragraph, strike the last sentence. And instead have a sentence that reads, we recommend that applications 94406 and 94407 be approved, conditioned on the property owner complying with all requirements of chapter 1701 extraction and exportation.
That's my motion.
That sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, I have a first by Supervisor Scanlon. And a second by Supervisor Alba.
Right, and I just want quick clarification. That sounds more better for you?
That sounds appropriate, yes.
Okay. Any other discussions? Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
You got that verbiage?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well. We're gonna go to C3. Timothy Short.
So this is an appeal of the Director of Planning and Zoning Services Department's March 27, 2026 interpretive action regarding the storage of explosives on a parcel zone upland conservation resource management district located on assessment parcel number 115-120-022 filed by Timothy Short want to note that that's a correction to the parcel number that's listed on the agenda. The letter from the department to the applicant has the correct parcel number, but the agenda has 115-122-022. It's 115-120-022.
022, okay.
Yes. So basically, when we get an interpretive action, a request, it's to see if the use is similar to uses that are allowed by right or by use permit in the subject zoning district. So if you look on pages 7 and 8 of your packet, you'll see the uses allowed by right and the uses allowed by use permit in the UC2 zoning district. And looking at that, there were no uses that seemed similar to storing explosives. So the determination was made that it wasn't allowed. There is mention of manufacturing of explosives in the M2 and M zoning district in our code. But in the UC2 zoning district, there's no mention of storing explosives. So the determination was made that on the UC2 Upland Conservation Resource Management Zone parcel, that explosives could not be stored.
Do you have a question?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So in M2 zoning, we have a right by use for manufacturing of explosives, but I don't think any of our zoning has a
No,
right
that would
to
be-
store explosives.
Storing would be incidental to manufacturing.
Okay, so they go hand in hand. That's M2 zoning.
That's M2 and M, industrial and heavy industrial.
Is this the request for,
Oh, Aaron was next.
Yeah, what's, I don't know, I'm unfamiliar with the explosives, but what's a magazine? The ATF and all that other,
I'm not an expert either, so I couldn't answer the specifics on the explosives. The applicant is here.
I can ask him later on.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And this is an appeal, so he has appealed that determination of the department that storing explosives isn't allowed on the UC2 zone parcel, and he would like to store the parcel. So by granting the appeal, you would be giving that, saying that the code allows that. So you would need to specify where, whether that be by right or by use permit, and what use it's similar to.
So do we have any zoning that would allow for the storage of
M2 and M,
M2 and M?
correct, heavy industrial and industrial.
Supervisor Cameron.
so we either need to issue a conditional use permit or change the zoning to the general plan?
Well, what you'd be deciding is you would be looking on pages 7 and 8 of your packet, where it lists the uses allowed by right, and then on page 8, it lists the uses allowed by use permit. You would be deciding that the use is similar to one of those listed uses, and you would clarify which use it's similar to, whether that be a use allowed by right or by use permit if you were going to grant the appeal. Or deny the appeal.
Do you have a copy of his explosives permit issued by the Lassen County Sheriff's Office?
I have, actually, I do have something to introduce that we received this morning or yesterday afternoon. Which does include, from the applicant, does include the permit from the sheriff's office. I also attached the letters of support that the applicant has submitted.
Thank you, sir.
Caitlin, why weren't we provided with the M2 zoning in our board packet? For that information.
Just because I was here to tell you that it was consistent with that zoning district. And no reason we could have included the M2 zoning district.
And two, you have chapters 18.102 and 18.08. Where is that in our board packet?
I do not, those are the general and special provisions, and they're not included in your packet.
And why is that?
Because there was, I don't know of any relevant information in special provisions or general provisions.
Well, when you include that information in here, you know, I think that it's, you know, that you should provide it to us so that, we can make informed decisions. And by you excluding, the M1 and those.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like to take a brief recess, we would be willing to go make copies of the zoning districts and special provisions.
We're past 10:25 anyways.
What do you guys, you want?
You know,
Okay.
10:25 break.
Yeah, we need a break. Thank you.
Okay, we're live.
We're back in session. We're gonna move to, F1.
We're gonna hold this.
Yeah, we'll temporarily hold the last, item and we'll go to F1. Stones Vanguard Community Services District.
That's me. Good morning, board. Michelle Ederoga, Deputy Clerk of the Board. I'm just back again for another appointment to the Stones Vanguard CSD. There's currently 2 vacancies and 1 applicant. Just request that you appoint the applicant to the longer term.
Yeah, anybody have any questions?
So the other, position, it will stay open until.
It will stay vacant. They've advertised, so if they can get somebody in and get an application, we can bring it back to board.
And what does it take to be an applicant for that position?
But you have to be a registered voter. There's really no qualifications. You have to live within that district.
Go within the district and be registered voter.
Right. That is it. Yeah. This is an elected office. So, these are just, one was an elected position. She moved away, resignation. Actually, they both moved. And the second vacancy was an appointed position that had also moved.
And there's a long term and a short term.
Yeah, hang on a second here.
You're recommending you'll.
So one vacancy expires December 4th of 2026, and the second vacancy expires December of 2028. So the 2026 position, with both positions, is similar to the Lake Forest, that they will have to sign up coming in July for the November election. So again, this is an elected position. So if you appoint them to the December 26th, this is a short term, but when they sign up, it will be for the full 4 years.
Okay.
And then the December 28th will be a short term position. They'll complete the 2 years.
And will this board member give them a form? If we approve this one?
They have a quorum.
Oh, they have a form?
It's a board of 5, and currently they have 3 board members. So they're fine as far as quorum and conducting meeting and paying bills.
Well, as long as somebody calls in. There's no more discussion. I'll make an appointment or make a motion to appoint John Huddleston to the term that expires December 1st, 2028.
Yes, and you're supposed to be here.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
And I have a second by Supervisor Candler. Any more discussion? Those in favor? Aye. So moved.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Galen.
So unless you zoning districts that has that one. Zoning district.
Sure.
Into zoning district.
Thank you, sir.
General provisions. I'm sure.
We don't like that. Once for life and once for him.
Sure. Okay.
As I mentioned, the M district in section 18.46.030, among uses it listed manufacturing of acid, cement or explosive fireworks, fertilizer, gas, and other materials. And the M2 zoning district and uses allowed by use permit under 18.44.040. Number 4, it lists manufacturing of acid, alcohol, ammonia, asphalt, plastics, rubber, cellulose, cement, coal, dyes, explosive, fertilizers, fireworks, and it goes on from there. There's any questions?
I have a question.
Good.
I may. Yeah, one second. Any questions? Tom,
No, not yet.
guys? Hi.
Don't know who this is a question for. Maybe John and Galen can combo this for us, keep it sharp. You issued a permit for certificate of liability insurance for the applicant. And your job is to just, before you issue this, your job is to.
We go out and just do an inspection of the site where the items are going to be stored and make sure they're in compliance with appropriate regulations and laws.
And
We do not do an evaluation for zoning that would fall under direct control.
But you did a safety, basically a safety
Yes,
evaluation.
and it was signed off by Sergeant Tim Hepley, who did the inspection. I've spoken with my staff. They said there were no issues that were flagged at the site.
Perfect, thank you.
okay, and obviously your protocols are a lot different than building and planning. So
Yes.
if something needed a special use permit, all of the neighbors would be notified, yada, 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 for anything that doesn't comply with the county code, right? You
If a use permit was required, neighbors would be noticed.
Right.
My determination was that the zoning doesn't allow it.
Right, of course, and that's the difference between law enforcement, the sheriff, and 18.46.050 that you know like the back of your hand. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that part, because John can't know everything.
I try hard, but luckily I got a good staff that informed me well.
You know your penal codes,
Yes.
you know, just like he knows the building.
It's just, it's two different approaches. As you put it well, you know, we have two different tracks on the same course here, but, and he has his responsibilities here and I have mine.
Right.
So.
Mr. Elbow.
John, under your permits, does it matter what type is it just one permit for all types of explosives, or do you guys have different?
No, we have one single permit.
One single permit. Just to cover, even if.
As long as it's legal, as long as it's legal in California, I wouldn't come over with a bunch of M80s or anything from Reno or anything like that. But I mean, anything that's legal in California would fit under that permit. Which is not much, but we are in California.
We've just never done anything like this, so I'm pretty naive about this stuff.
These don't come up often, in all honesty.
No, they don't.
No, we don't get a lot of these. So it's not like this is, I mean, I think the last one we got was several years ago. It's not something that we, we see a lot of or get a lot of requests for. So it's a low frequency and can be high risk. One of those type, that's in those categories.
Really is, yeah.
That's good that it's once in a great while.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, I think there's just people that just don't want to have to deal with the explosive ordinance or whatever they're using.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, the applicants are here. You wanna state your name, please, for the record?
My name is Tim Short. I have a company called West Coast Blasting Services. And I purchased the land out there in Westwood to store explosives. I support the biomass industry. I clean all the power plants around here, Tehama, Lassen, the Plumas counties. I've done it for the last 15 years. I would like to rebut the fact that we are manufacturer of explosives. We do not manufacture anything. We store explosives and we use them at the power plants or in the forestry division when we're blasting.
Have you lost it?
So the biomass plants here have a state contract to burn all the wood that's burned up in the forest fires. And so it produces slag and ash. It's a chimney sweep, basically. So,
It's a good explanation.
yeah, it's just a high-powered chimney sweep. We don't do any damage to the plants. We don't, no accidents in 25 years that I've been doing this.
That's pretty interesting, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool job. I have the letter of recommendations that you saw. I have, $5 million liability insurance for accidents. And then I have, letters of recommendation from Sierra Pacific, Westwood Logging, and, Ralph Sanders over at HL Power.
Question for you, if you don't mind, is you've been doing this for 25 years.
Yes, sir.
So where have you stored the munitions at previous to that?
And then we don't store over 200 to 300 pounds. And I got approval by the ATF already, and of course, the Lassen County Sheriff.
This is the first time you're actually gonna be storing munitions.
Correct. I've had a Lassen County blasting permit for the last 15 years. I've been in and out of this county for 15 years. I just didn't store here. I recently, left my job that there's a company out of New Jersey and, started my own business. So, I plan on, hiring people out of Lassen County to support business in Lassen County, to do forestry in Lassen County, provide services for the biomass industry in Lassen County, Plymouth County, and Hammond County. I introduced blasting to the power plants 15 years ago. I'm the only person that's ever done it. Just under different companies. So.
I saw the pictures of the two magazines that you have located up there, and they're 1,500 pounds each.
Yep.
Are you planning on building a structure around those? Like, is that gonna be like, seems kind of weird to see those things in the open.
Well, it is, and I have to plan for the snow. If there's some kind of structure that's going over them, it's gonna be some kind of lean-to structure or something made out of metal. I don't want to introduce any more. They're outdoor type 2 magazines, which means they're meant to be stored outdoors. They're ATF approved. They will probably need something to cover them for the snow. And I'm clearing, so the ATF requires that I clear 25 feet around the magazines for brush and debris and everything for fire hazard. Well, I've got Westwood Logging Company clearing 50 feet because county regs want more than what the ATF would allow. So I've seen 50 feet as far as the fire department is concerned before, so I decided to go ahead and do 50 feet.
These will be continual use. You'll take stuff out, put stuff in, and
Yeah, so I live in Westwood, and that land is 5 miles from Westwood, and I operate my business out of Westwood, and then I go there and I pick up explosives. I will pick up explosives, and then I travel. So we put those in a trailer. I have a Class A hazmat CDL, and we take those either to Quincy, which Quincy just had a job last week, and they had to hire somebody out of New Jersey to do the job. It cost them probably 4 times as much as it should have, because I was waiting to get my permits. But now Sean Hornback knows, Ralph Sanders knows, everybody around here knows that I'm in business. But not being able to store the explosives would severely hinder that business.
What kind of theft issues do you have for your?
Cameras on the property, and then those magazines by definition are theft proof, so they have 2 locks, hooded locks, so you can't cut them off. It's basically a hood structure that goes over the lock. You have to reach up into it to unlock. And it's built to a certain standard by the ATF. As well as the cameras, and then you're required to check them every 7 days.
what are your thoughts on this?
I am in full support of Mr. Short and the operation of his business. That said, I think that if the board were to decide that this is just allowed by right, that would be a precedent that could potentially affect people in the future, neighbors are not giving notice and that sort of thing. I think it would probably, in my mind, be more reasonable to be a use permit so that, the people in the area of where it's being proposed would give notice and we give comment. But then that could be affected by a change to special provisions or general provisions. That's Galen's wheelhouse. But I am in support of this man and what he's doing. But I think that the zoning ordinance is silent to this, and I wouldn't want to set a precedent that is potentially not so great for future projects when people don't get notice of something like this. And I know he's probably sitting there going, there's really not a lot of risk, but the problem is I'm ignorant to the ramifications of what this means, just like potential neighbors would be in the future. So that's my thought.
One more question, but anyway. I looked at the pictures in the map and stuff. How far away are the closest residences or neighbors?
They're 902,000 feet. That was measured by the ATF, the Lassen County Sheriff's Department. These maps, all mine. So there's a table of distances the ATF uses to determine what's dangerous. And it goes by how much explosives you plan to store, and then the distance from public roadway and your nearest neighbor. Those magazines are barricaded ways. I have a earthen dam in front of them, between them and the road. So according to their table of distances, it allows me to store up to 800 pounds. Can't fit 800 pounds in that magazine. They're really small. So it would be more 200 to 300 pounds, which is more than enough distance from the road, especially with berms. There's a natural barricade of trees, and there's an earthen berm, and then the neighbors, 1,000 feet away, and they don't consider that. With the amount of explosives, if they were to explode, it's never happened in my entire life. It wouldn't damage their property.
Go ahead. Well, I just want to make sure for clarity with Maury and Mr. Galen. We're just here to interpret whether or not this is a use by right or he needs to apply for a special use permit, correct? No. The planning director looked at the zoning ordinance. He didn't see anything that said that it was something that was consistent with it. But it's silent to it. And you can appreciate the gravity for the planning director to just say, go ahead, without it really saying in the zoning ordinance what you can and cannot do regarding this. And so he defaulted to no, because it's a permissive ordinance and it says what you can do. And so, yes, he can interpret things that make obvious sense to him. And in this case, it was not obvious that you can store munitions. And so you're here to either say, we agree, it's silent to that, so therefore it's a no, or direct him otherwise. If you direct him otherwise, as I just previously said, I think it's a precedent that isn't necessarily good. I would direct it. I would say that the better choice would be to have Galen amend the zoning ordinance to clarify where and how you can do this. And that could be a special provision. It could list, these are the zones you can do it with a use permit. And as I said, a use permit makes more sense to me, so that there's a process for neighbors to know and for the world to hear it. That help? So, yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to see the county in general, exercise some discretionary flexibility. I'd like to see this go through, but in a way that's, going, so I think a conditional use permit is a good way to go. I mean, it's, gives the neighbors a chance to put in their 2 cents, and hopefully we can facilitate a business in our county that, is very useful for our county in different ways. And so, I'd like to see it move forward. I just want to, kind of like what Maury was saying, perhaps, modify, because as we look at the action requested, it's either grant the appeal or deny the appeal. Maybe grant the appeal on condition of getting us, conditional use permit.
Well, there's no process for the permit right now. We would have to amend the zoning ordinance, whether it be special provision or in different zones, depending on how you want to do it. But I think for today, the action is to deny the appeal, and we can provide direction to staff to amend the zoning ordinance to allow for a use permit process.
Is there any M2 zoning around his property?
Very little. There's some in Johnstonville, there's some in Furlong. And that's all I can think of.
Not very many in this area.
We don't have a lot.
Very few.
About the M zone,
Same thing.
the same.
A little bit in Johnsonville, a little bit in well, actually, M is no longer a zone that we can apply anymore. Is that right, Gillen? It's a defunct zoning, but there is some out there. So we've moved to M2, I believe. M1. Or M1 and M2 is a substitute for the
Mr. Alvaro, you have a question?
Yeah, I got two questions. The first is from where you gonna put your magazines, how far are you from your property lines?
The magazines are in the top corner of my property. I had to put it there in order to make sure that the distances were correct, because my property is kind of slanted at a kind of parallelogram type issue. The neighbor's property line starts probably 50 feet from where they are.
My
But his
concern is because
his actual location is on the opposite side of his own property. So that's where the 900 to 1,000 feet comes in.
okay. Well, my concern is by putting it there, you have no control over what the neighbors are gonna do. They'll want to put their house right on the corner of that property, so then you're gonna be within that close
Yeah, that-
proximity,
That could be an
which,
issue.
yeah, and then so anyway, so that's one concern. Yeah. The other question I have, Maury, can you do a special use permit on something like this in that zoning, or do you have to do the conditional?
Well, so right now, let's not care about the first word. It's a use permit.
Okay.
Okay, and no, there is no procedure right now to explore a discretionary permit for the storage of explosives. So if the board desires that, they would direct the planning director to go through that process and make an entrance into the zoning that would allow for that entitlement. So we just call it a use permit.
Is it easier to do that or to change the zoning?
Oh, yeah, well, there's several ways to skin a cat, yeah. But we have UC2, that's the most common zoning once you leave a hamlet. But we have others. We have forest, A1, we have general, we have A1 down in South County, which there isn't UC2. So there's a couple of different zonings I could see this. And it might be appropriate in, other zoning districts. So I think instead of trying to identify the districts, you do either general or special provision, and then the application can be made in any of those districts and on a case by case.
I like that.
Yeah, because I think it's a great business. It's a very specialized, it's very niche. You're obviously very good at it. You still have 10 fingers.
Yeah, I've got all my fingers and toes on
And toes.
Can't see them, but I got. So, yeah, I've never, in 25 years, I've never had an accident, even an OSHA recordable on plant site. So we
anyway,
take
I
great.
think you run a good business. I'd like to see you, be established. I mean, there's such a need for it with.
Well, and a lot of the guys around Westwood, they do the logging in their spare time or during the season. And I can hire those guys. I take new guys in at $40 an hour. So I can get those guys employed when they're not doing other things. It's a seasonal job, and our seasons kind of run opposite each other.
It's a give and take. They'll come out
yeah.
to build the road.
Yeah.
So it's a total benefit.
I have a quick question. Roughly, just a rough estimate, how many employees will you have?
So right now I already have 2 in Tehama County,
Okay.
but I've had them for a while. I'll probably start, it's a small business, so 4 or 5 out of Lassen County. And then
That's good.
I'm growing. My former company, isn't treating their employees correctly, so you may have other things going on as well.
Other employees looking for work.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking for a motion, man.
I've got one more question for Galen. Galen, in the allowed use permit, it says that mining, processing of including sand and gravel mining. I mean, sometimes in those mining operations, I mean, they have blasting that they have to do to be able to get the rock into gravel.
Now, was there a question?
Yeah, so I mean, can this, can, under allowed use permit, under number 6 on 18.69.040, in the mining processing, is that allowed for them to, store?
That would be part of the use permit process to work the particulars of that out. So that would be just a condition of the use permit.
I think what Supervisor Neely is asking is he's seeing in the UC district, uses one is mining related, and could that be interpreted to allow for a use permit for the storage of conditions? Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. So I think mining is different than storing explosives, but I see your point.
I mean, normally they can't make big rocks into little rocks without some persuasion.
that's all I do for a living.
If that was the determination, you would be granting the appeal and finding that the use is consistent with number 6.
Well, I don't know, in mining, in interpretation of mining, I mean, I can Google what mining would be, but oh, go ahead.
I think we found a way, if possible, to have to go rewrite the code. We could just demonstrate some flexibility and just, if it's of this portion, and grant the appeal. Nobody's going to talk about it here.
Well, yeah, you want to invite testimony or you make a motion?
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
other people that want to talk.
Okay, I'm looking for public comment. State your name, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name's William Roberts. My wife and I own the property that's 800 feet away from his idea. Sounds like he's already moved everything in to do it. He's still got those ammunition boxes are on that property now. I don't go down there to look at his stuff, but we have discussed putting a second dwelling on that property down at that end of the property. I have kids and grandkids that come on 4th of July and Easter and want to chase eggs and different things, and they like to climb on the rocks down at that end of the property. I don't think that property's big enough to do what he's wanting to do because it's not safe enough for the highway or for me or my people to be on our property. Will that affect how big of a crater will this thing make if it blows up? And, you know, I don't feel safe being on our own property with him next door. Our grandkids ran all over there and now they won't be able to. Probably won't be able to build that second dwelling that we thought we would for our kids and our grandkids. And I think you're making a big mistake allowing that there. It's not a big enough property for that. If it did go off and cause a fire, there's no way he can keep it from burning. Unless he drills a well, and that's got to go through some processes to happen. And I think that you're jumping the gun letting this guy do this project, because what if he morphs this into something that he starts making explosives there? Will you allow him to do that? You know, I have a lot of questions in my mind. What's it going to do to our property values? And is $5 million liability insurance enough for someone's grandkids' life. I don't agree with this project at all where it is. If it did go off, it's gonna burn our forest down. It's gonna burn my place down. And, there's no fire department, Poplarville. I don't think Westwood could respond to anything like that. I think you're putting a liability on the county if you allow this. That's my belief. So I'd sure like to see it left pristine in the zoning that's required under. Doesn't sound like you have zoning for storing explosives, so you probably don't have any codes for distances or anything. He's going by different places in the county. I think he should just be able to go to Lincoln and get his stuff like he always has. But when I asked him what he was going to do over there, he said he was just going to store some equipment and some trucks. So I feel like he's kind of deceived me on what I thought he was going to try to do there when I went over and said hello. But it sure puts a damper on our property there for our enjoyment, being next to the ski hill. You know, I don't think ammunitions is a thing that the county should be allowing. I don't think you have enough codes on it. You're just going to let somebody slide through doing something he's already started without any permits or anything yet. No public input. And I do think there should be a use permit required for anything like that, that will let the neighbors know what's going on. We just received a letter a week ago that there was going to be an appeal. So did you turn it down the first time? And I don't know, the sheriffs might have looked at that place.
Time's up, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Please, no one else. I'll bring it up here for comment, discussion. Cory?
Yeah, just further clarity for the board. So spoken to Deputy Matt May of the Planning Building Department who oversees the mining program. And he's not aware of any storage of explosives at any of our 50 or so mines. So generally, I think the procedure has been, as it was described by Mr. Short, that, you know, people, if that's going to happen, they come from somewhere and do what they do and then they leave. So just for information.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, I appreciate the neighbor's concerns, and that's why I asked the question, how far is this from the other property lines, and just thinking about the measures even. And so, and part of this comes where we were talking about earlier with going to a use permit, so you'll have those standards to protect the neighbors and alleviate some of their concerns and preserve their property values. And so I think that's where we're at is, what do you do? We gotta protect the neighbors. I mean, that's the last thing.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with Supervisor Alba. I don't feel like storing explosives is consistent with UC2 zoning. M1 and M2 industrial zoning that's consistent with. It's unfortunate that we don't have that many properties in Lassen County that go along with the zoning. I don't feel like it's consistent with the UC2.
That's where the use permit comes in.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And that would get the neighbors notified and everybody involved.
So help me out here, Maury. Yeah, somebody for Galen. To grant the appeal, is that,
Grant the appeal, you would be finding that the use is allowed either by right or by use permit in one of the zoning district, the UC2 zoning district. So you would need to specify where that's allowed and whether it be by right or by use permit and what use it's consistent with. Denying the appeal would say that it's not allowed in the UC2 zoning district. You could simultaneously give direction to amend the zoning ordinance.
As a guy that's gonna have to deal with this, which one do you recommend?
Well, my determination was it's not listed in the uses that are allowed by right or by use permit in the
Or by use
UC2
permit.
zoning district. I'm sorry?
Or by use permit?
It's not, yeah, that it's not listed there. So that was the determination that I made.
And what are the neighboring properties around this?
They're also used,
UC2,
UC2.
all the way around it?
Yes, I believe so.
Same keeps sticking out, so I can. No, I'm just gonna do it. I got it. How far out is this border, Highway 36?
Yes.
So my other question is, maybe this is for the explosives guy, is how safe are these to travel up and down the road to explosive? Are they relatively safe?
Yeah, I mean, I had a CDL for 20 years. You have to have certain licensing, DOT, hazmat, endorsement on your license. And they're carried in boxes that are kind of explosive proof, the same as the ones that we have on site. They're just
You can take them
smaller.
down a bumpy dirt road for 5 miles.
If I get a county permit, I can take them anywhere I want. If I'm on public highways, I can drive up. So I do work in Seattle, from Seattle to Bakersfield. And sometimes Florida. So I haul those things, all the way up there with a pickup truck and a trailer, do my work. And then I have to have a place to store them in between doing jobs from one place to the other.
Okay.
I also have a Washington blasting permit as well.
All right, thank you. Yes, that goes up. I'll give you my 2 cents.
What's that?
I'll give you my 2 cents. What do you
Go
got?
ahead.
I said I did.
Oh, okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
would be, good to summarize the options quickly.
Please.
You can approve the appeal, which would mean that he's allowed to do it. You could not approve it, which means he can't. You could not approve it and provide direction to staff to amend the zoning ordinance for a use permit process. Alternatively, Supervisor Neely and Supervisor Scanlon had talked about an option to interpret the use permit process in that zone to allow for application of munitions storage. All of those options are on the table.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to, conduct a public meeting as we have and deny the appeal and give instruction to staff to, reevaluate the zoning and rezone it. Pardon me?
Okay.
To amend the zoning to correct that.
And I'll second it for discussion. And for clarity, that will let the neighbors be involved with the permitting process and everything else.
Both the use permit process, if Mr. Norwood were directed to put it into special or general provisions, would allow for public involvement, as well as if he were to interpret it in the UC zoning district as a use that could potentially be applied for it with the use permit, that would also allow for public involvement. So either way, public involvement would be required.
And will that go back to the planning commission and start the process?
Use permit, yes. Use permits, well, he didn't ever go through the planning commission. This is just the planning director interpreting the zoning ordinance at this stage. If you were to amend zoning or to interpret that the zoning allows for a use permit, that is the wheelhouse of the planning commission. And this would be the appeal body.
And so he applied for the permit and was denied a permit?
No, he went to the planning department and said, is this something I can do by right? And the planning director evaluated it and did not see anything that allowed him to do it. So he said no. And then Mr. Short appealed that interpretation of the zoning ordinance, and that's what we're doing right now.
And why didn't it go to the planning commission when he realized that?
There is no procedure to make an application for a use permit for the storage of ammunition, or excuse me, ordnance.
We're the appeal body.
I
So
know, but isn't it normal that they go through the planning commission and then?
no,
And then they determine whether it's what zone it should be in?
no, this isn't what you guys are doing today, what you gentlemen are doing is you're either gonna agree or disagree with the planning director's decision that it's not allowed by right. That's what we're doing. There's been no use permit application because there's no procedure to do so. The ordinance is silent to it. Because it's a bit of a woman, but the motion was made that you deny the appeal, so we can't do it yet. And direct planning director to amend that ordinance to allow for the application of a use permit. So we can't, well, it's still discretionary. That's the purpose of the whole use permit and the,
Yeah,
so that's the motion.
That will go through a process.
and that's a good motion, so do I have a second?
I think you did get
You already
started.
have. Okay, so I have a first and a second. Any other discussion?
No, I think that's what we need to.
Okay, and those in favor? Aye, opposed? So moved. Thank you. Okay, number 4.
Going back to that real quick.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
Galen, how long is it gonna take you to roughly to go back and make those?
Well, the question will be environmental review. What environmental review is required to amend the zoning ordinance to allow explosive storage? So, if it's subject to an initial study, it would be 6 months. Yeah.
Just so that people can. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Chair,
yes,
my apologies, but it's now 11:46 and we are still got several items left on our agenda, and I've been informed by Mr. Anderson that this chamber is booked at 1 p.m. for the solid waste committee hearing.
Michelle, is there a way to confirm that?
That's, I want that in this year's. I want that,
Is that typically here?
1 o'clock.
Yeah, okay.
I can email Christine Delano in Public Works if you'd like.
Well, I think it's true. It's in here at 1 o'clock.
so we just power through this day?
We can give it our,
Let's do it.
Well, I mean, I think the options are to, work through lunch, and see what we can do. And if there's anything remaining, perhaps continue it to the next board meeting, or if solid waste committee, I don't know what's on that agenda. I don't know if that's something that could be bumped to a later time as well.
well, it's so I believe that's already been bumped once. So it's sort of a pressing matter and that's,
Let's just see if we can power through the power.
Can't they relocate to the,
Well, part of this board's on the solid waste board.
I don't yield the floor to.
Well, if they've been,
because the Board of Supervisors has done that in the past. I'm not saying us to move upstairs, but the solid waste is a smaller body than us. If they could post a notice and move their meeting upstairs, we could remain in here.
that I think probably would be a viable option so long as it's,
posting.
As long as they have a forum, because part of this board is on the solid waste board, and they'll be
We've
going.
got two people on this board that's on that board.
Yeah.
Well, with, yeah, so there's quorum issues there. I don't know, I guess it's depending on how many people from that body show up. Because this board could function with 3 members.
Okay, this might be, need to confirm the time. It might be 3 o'clock. So is it 3 o'clock usually or 1 o'clock?
It's usually 1 o'clock.
Okay,
The agenda that I got is 1 o'clock.
okay,
I got an agenda, but I didn't.
1 o'clock.
Okay, so we gotta get busy then.
All right, let's go.
Okay, number 4.
Mr. Chairman, sir. I'm Matt Shorts, the building official for Lassen County Building Division. This hearing is to consider recovery of administration penalties for a public nuisance located at 686 970 Cherry Way in Susanville. The property is owned by a Robert and Christy Salas. The associated code enforcement number is CDEF 2025-025. The administrative penalty is due to the owner's failure to abate the public nuisance in accordance with the notice in order to correct violations and the decision of the hearing officer. So our recommendation is to receive this report, to conduct this hearing, to adopt, modify, or discharge the administrative penalties, and to adopt a resolution ordering recordation of a lien against real property described herein, which is a public nuisance, was identified in violation with 1.18 of Lassen County Code in order to recover administrative penalties as established by the Lassen County hearing officer.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question. Mr. Shorts, is this in the city limits?
No, sir, this is up at Spalding.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of county addresses that show Susanville, but are technically outside.
Go ahead, Mr. Elmo.
Did this person, did they show up to the hearing?
No, sir.
They didn't.
No. The hearing was conducted.
Have they abated since then? You know, man.
No, sir, it has not been abated.
So I need.
Any other questions? Looking for a motion.
No, public hearing.
No public to comment.
Open the public hearing.
Okay,
It's not a public hearing, it's just a hearing, but the hearing needs to be open and closed.
I'll make,
The
no
hearing,
public comment, so. go ahead.
So board chair, my apologies. So you're here to conduct administrative hearing. So my suggestion is, Chair, if you can open the administrative hearing. And we'll consider Mr. Shorts' statements as his testimony. If you have any additional questions, bring me and ask him after you've opened the hearing. And then invite and see if there's anyone from the responding party present to speak to the hearing.
Okay, so we'll open a public hearing. We heard your comment. Is there, we'll open it to public. If there's any public comment. If there are none, we'll close the public comment.
Chair, and is there someone from the responding party present? Do you recognize?
No,
Okay.
that we know.
So, yeah, just make sure we,
Yeah, I knew there wasn't, but I already mentioned that. So,
I'll make a motion to receive the enforcing officer's report, conduct a hearing, adopt the administrative penalties, adopt a resolution ordering recordation of the lien against real property described herein on which a public nuisance was identified in violation of chapter 1.18 of the Lassen County Code.
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, we'll go to number 5. We'll open a public hearing on number 5. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This hearing is to consider recovery of administrative penalties for a public nuisance located at 306 7th Street in Westwood. The property is owned by Mr. Ryan Logston. The associated code enforcement file number is CDEF 2025-030. The administrative penalty is due to the owner's failure to abate the public nuisance in accordance with the notice in order to correct violations and the decision of the hearing officer. So our recommendation would be to receive this report, to conduct a hearing, to adopt, modify, or discharge the administrative penalties, and adopt a resolution ordering the recordation of a lien against the real property described herein on which a public nuisance was identified in violation of chapter 1.18 of Lassen County Code in order to recover administrative penalties as established by Lassen County hearing officer.
Okay, so
You need to open the public hearing, or you need to open the hearing.
okay, open the public here part of the meeting.
Chair, I know that this may seem, it's not a public hearing, it's an administrative.
Okay. Sorry.
Good morning, well, it's almost afternoon.
State your name, please.
I'm Ryan Logston. I'm the owner of the property at 306 7th Street in Westwood. Okay. What had happened here was with the hearings that they held. I've been working for the county of Alameda. And I was down there and I was in a training session for my new job there. It's not a new job, I've been there years, but point being is I couldn't miss time. I didn't know my mail was sent to my place in Lake Almanor. Okay, my mother sent me the letters and I actually got the letters on the 10th of July, the day the hearing was. I immediately called the next morning to the code enforcement officer and let him know that this has been a problem. And I told him that we were complying. I have pictures I can show you right now that are timestamped that show that we complied before that hearing. So, and there was a hearing officer, my tenant, I started renting the property out in July, on July 1st. My tenant was there when the code enforcement officer came by right after the first and saw that the place was 90% clean. And didn't relay that to the hearing, obviously, because they fined me $17,000. Okay. I called him up immediately the next day. And he told me, he said, well, you're fined $17,000. That's it. And I said, can I talk to the commissioner? And he said, no, he's not available. I said, okay. And I called on 3 different occasions. No, he's not available. So at that time, I'm going to have to talk to the county board of supervisors. And that's where we're at now. But I have pictures if you'd like to see. This is on July 11th, the day after, when I heard that I was fined, I immediately called my contractor who was overseeing the situation compliance. I said, can you go pick your picture? And the picture of it is absolutely clean. It was clean before the hearing. I just didn't know about the hearing until the date. And you're the first person I got a chance to talk to about it. So it wasn't that I wasn't compliant. We were in compliance. We were in the process of compliance, and it was in compliance before the hearing by far. So
You submit your pictures to.
I'm the clerk.
okay. Well, there's a text timestamp that shows you on the morning of the 11th of July, and I blew the picture up so you can see it. That's between myself and my contractor who's taking care of overseeing the project.
It doesn't show an aerial view. It shows the front of the property.
That's where the problem was, the nuisance was, because when I had evicted a tenant finally a few months earlier, and the tenant just, when the sheriff came to kick them out, pushed all their stuff out on the street and was supposed to come get it, and they never did. So that's when they told me, the county told me that we were complying, not in compliance because everything's pushed on the street. And so we started complying to clean it up. We were in compliance by the, as you see the timestamps, the morning of the 11th. And the place had been cleaned. I have my tenant here who was finished doing the cleaning, and my contractor's here. Can I see that picture as well?
That's on the front line.
In fact, if there's an aerial picture.
But it doesn't really.
Mr. Chairman, we have in our code file some pictures the day before the hearing, if you'd like to see those.
I would.
Yes, please.
I'd like to see
You got that.
sorry, the day before the,
Yeah, so this is July 9.
Please be aware.
So those are the four that we have. We share those with them, and then the 11. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have him out of the.
No, that's fine.
So here's the 9th, July 9th, that's 25. And so there's the front of the property, the back of the property. This is and what was left on the street, and this is coming up to the front door.
Gotcha.
So those, I haven't seen his pictures, we weren't aware. The date, okay, yeah, July 9th, 2025, sorry, gentlemen.
That's fine. That's the back of
This is the back of the property, that was the front. This is the street, and this is the coming to the doorway. Just so that way everybody has.
the street view is the same as what is passing over here.
Right, yeah.
That's one. That's right.
That would be right there. Yeah, this one was from the 18th, so this was a month before, but let's, go to here, see that is on the side. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah, you
that,
can see I was compliant.
Okay. Thank you.
just so that way everybody has
Pretty
information.
plain.
As you can see from the picture that you showed,
Sure.
Yes,
Those are yours.
thank you.
as
You
you,
need these back.
oh no, you can have them.
Thank you.
As you can see by pictures he had on the 16th and the pictures that on the 11th, I was in line. Place has been cleaned up quite a bit in that time. But the front of the property was that what they told me was the issue was because things were pushed out on the street. And so we made sure to have that cleared. The house has been completely cleared. I have a tenant in there that has done a great amount of work as well, but we were in the process, we were complying. And but they told us was the front of the property had to be cleaned and out on the street, it was cleaned by the time the hearing was there. So I think there was, the penalty is quite harsh, and I was in the process of complying. It's been complied with, and there's no issues there.
I have a quick question for the code officer. Was the only problem on the front of the property, or was it the whole property?
Mr. Dick Pryor here was code enforcement at the time for you. And so I defer that to him.
So,
I'm sorry,
state your name,
can
please.
you state your name, please?
Nicholas Career. K-R-I-E-R.
I know, thank you.
So the property, was posted, and then there was some progress done on the property. It was the entire property that needs to be cleaned up, not just the road.
That's what it looked like to me too.
And the majority of the property was cleaned up, but it wasn't completed. I had no contact with him until after the hearing. And at that point, after the hearing, the hearing officer did make his.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
The hearing date was on the 10th, but was there like a prior due date where this is what to be cleaned up by a certain time?
Yes, there was.
What was
I'm
that?
trying to remember the date itself. I believe it
June
was,
16th or something?
so- sorry, it's been a minute on this one.
What I'm getting at is that it should have been cleaned up well before the 10th, not on.
Correct. It's usually a month after the fact. But I'm trying to find that, okay.
Even though I didn't know about the hearings until the 10th, we were in the process of complying at the time. Probably,
In the process and completed, it's two different things. They really are. And they put a due date for compliance, not in process. Just so you know that. Any other questions?
Yeah, so did the county go and clean it up?
no, I cleaned it up.
Is it cleaned up today, Mr. Kerr?
I am not, code enforcement anymore. I have not been on.
I have been by, it is cleaned up. Just for facts though, guys, and it's totally in your guys' court, but this is for the administrative penalties. This is not for an abatement. This is not for the county to go clean it up. These are for the penalties of not having it cleaned up.
The penalty, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No,
one more,
go ahead.
to the code officer. The hearing date was on the tenth. Were there notifications sent out prior to that, to the property owner had to be cleaned up?
Right, and it was posted on property. The code original date was 5/15. We had a little problem.
Thank you.
He did clean it up pretty well. Probably after the fact. Gentleman was living there now.
Yeah, we were in the process before the date, the hearing date, and, the property has been cleaned up. It, didn't know about the hearing until the night of the hearing, and so I called them immediately the next day. So, it is cleaned up.
Don't they send out a notice on the hearing dates and prior?
But like you said, it was sent to an address he's not at, so he did not receive it.
I sent it, where my mother is, and she didn't send my all my mail envelope, and it didn't get there till the night of the 10th. And when I saw it, I immediately called them the next morning to let them know what the situation was. And that we were complying.
Oh. I'm looking for.
And so unless there's more testimony, I would close the hearing.
Okay. We've got one more.
Okay, so,
Come up and state your name.
my name's Michael Robertson. So I moved up there and rented the place July 1st and, started cleaning it up. It was a mess, right? Started cleaning up, but I had problems with people in the house. Could have been like vacant over a year. They had people fucking coming through there, stealing my tools and shit, all kinds of stuff. So,
Watch your language.
okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. But, yeah, there was a lot of issues with stuff like that, so, kind of hard when people are,
Well, we've got two different issues. We've got criminal issues going on and now we've got, debate and clean up and they don't mix. I'm sorry. Anything else you have to say?
no, it's not.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Clean now.
I'm gonna close the public part.
There's another.
One more.
So.
State your name, please.
Doug Weeks. Yes, the place was a mess, right? It was. But there was tenants in it forever. We came and cleaned it up once. Within like 30 days, there was 5 more cars on the property. You can't go on the property and just take the stuff from the people. They rent it, right? Right? Can't do that. Finally get them evicted, finally, after 6 months of trying to get them out. And then it's full of squatters. Now, again, squatter rights. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy process at all. The neighboring property is out of control, but yet this one's getting whatever, penalized for whatever reason. We complied. We did it I seem like a fairly timely thing with, we all have lives just like you guys. And I mean, there are so many. So bad.
But we're only talking
About that one, but it is a community. And you're trying to, I mean, it's a kind of excessive, don't you think? I mean, we complied. We did the best we could. We got it clean. It is clean.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public? We're gonna close the public part. Bring it back up here for discussion. Administrative, I'm sorry. Administrative hearing. Bring it back up here for discussion.
The fact that, code enforcement clear went back out and said the property was cleaned up. There's a lot of properties throughout the county that get tagged and don't get cleaned up. That's true. You know, the fact that these guys, I mean, better late than never. I think maybe since they got everything cleaned up, the administrative fees might be a little bit steep. I mean, they complied.
I have to agree. I'm looking for a suggestion.
But I mean, being a landlord, I know what squatters' rights are, and it's tough. get people evicted in the state.
So
Go ahead.
here, if it helps the board here, you've now conducted the administrative hearing, and then the next option is to, render a decision. And what's before you is the opportunity to either adopt completely the hearing officer's determination, or to modify it or reject it. And essentially, you have three options there. We've heard testimony that the property was not in compliance with our ordinances on public nuisances. They eventually, though, became compliant. So from my perspective, from a legal perspective, administrative penalties are kind of that carrot approach to achieve compliance with nuisance ordinances, because it incentivizes the landowner to clean up the property, to shut off or cut off the accumulation of those administrative penalties. They were noticed per our code. And so regardless of the fact that, he may not have opened his mail until the night before the hearing, he was properly noticed. And we had testimony from the code enforcement officer that the property was also posted, which is also a proper way of achieving notice in these circumstances. But it's definitely within your discretion to modify, and by that reduce the amount of administrative penalties, or you could even theoretically waive them if you so choose. So those are your options. Hopefully, if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them from a legal perspective. But I think that's what you should be looking for, is some sort of motion to either adopt, modify, or waive.
Just a comment, yes, you're right. There's a lot of areas that are full of trash and garbage, and it seems like unfair that somebody gets picked on, but the neighbor doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it's just the luck of the straw, but it's everybody's responsibility as a property owner, whether you're renting or you're owning this, to clean up.
It's not the luck of the draw.
Be a good neighbor to your neighbors, if nothing else, and as somebody that works for a county, I think that I would hope that you would understand and appreciate what we have to do, because I'm sure you have to say, maybe it's your county, is the notification, et cetera, et cetera. So, I feel that we did our due diligence with the posting the property, putting out the mail, the notice, the public hearing, et cetera. And I think, and anyway, I appreciate the fact, and thank you for cleaning up, because a lot of people don't. So I want to say kudos to you and thank you for doing it.
Please understand.
It's there. It's not your turn. So anyway, so thank you for doing that. I do appreciate that. And maybe I can be a little bit lenient on this, but at the same time, I don't want to be too lenient either. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I've been up all around Westwood and seen the same exact situation. In fact, that very house, looking like garbage, and the same thing throughout Westwood. And it's almost impossible, because of the constraints on code enforcement and our own county resources, to get actually something done. And this is a problem that took place long before they were noticed. It was a problem that had existed, and they were notified about leading up to this process, and nothing was done, and nothing was done. And then finally, he opens an envelope the night before, which is not our responsibility, it's his. And now we're expected to kind of back off the process. It's taken probably just about a year to get up to. And there's too many property owners that are doing the same thing that this gentleman has done, not monitored his property, not watched over his renters and the condition of the property, gone by and just looked at it and made a determination that this is not good for the community, and forced the county into a position of having to deal with this. And how many hours has code enforcement spent going out and looking at stuff? I went out there personally. I drove around with people from Westwood that pointed out this particular property as an aggravated problem. And this could easily have been dealt with prior to any of us getting involved, if the property owner had taken responsibility for his property, which he did not. And the letter is almost inconsequential. It's not our fault that he waited until the last minute. But I think that we need to move forward on this. And You know, if anybody else is amenable to reducing the fine or the penalties, whatever, but I think those are in place for a reason. And it's part of the overall, we need to clean up Westwood, we're closed. And so,
Public's closed.
anyway, I would advocate for, well, I'll make a motion,
Okay.
to receive the enforcing officer's report, conduct the hearing, and adopt the administrative penalties, and adopt the resolution ordering recordation of a lien against the real property described therein on which a public nuisance was identified in violation of chapter 1.18 of the Lassen County Code.
Okay, I have a motion on the table. Do I have a
Second.
And I have a second. Any other comment?
Further discussion, it's your neck of the woods, your district, so you're making a motion to collect the, pull it out.
Yep.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Sure, the district attorney's informed me that she has the matters pressing. I know that we are falling behind on a lot of our agenda. There is a request from the district attorney that her item be heard sooner rather than later, so your prerogative on what to do.
Sir, it's not that, it's that, I'm not sure why, I don't know if we're not gonna be able to come back after a lunch period or not. I can't just push my item to another Tuesday. It took me 4 months to get the stars to come here today. So I'm happy to stay till 1 o'clock, but when the meeting adjourns, I can't just continue it to another Tuesday, so.
You can't.
On that note, we are going to direct people upstairs for the solid waste meeting, and so there is no 1 o'clock time limit. This
Okay.
body, although 2 of you will be leaving and there will only be 3 of you, so.
Okay.
Okay, is the meeting continuing then? Okay, then that's fine, that's fine. Supervisor, thank you.
Go ahead. Wait a minute. Go ahead.
Can we just take the DA's issue out of order and do it now?
No,
Yeah.
I'm happy waiting.
That's what- No, I was gonna suggest that.
I had heard, I just expressed concern because I can't come. I
Right.
can come back some other days. So,
Let's go ahead and take you out of turn because
if
you've
you'd
got a
like-
job to do too.
Well, there are
I
other
hope
people,
the public understands, but
I will wait. Supervisor Bridges, that's fine.
Okay.
Please go in the order of which things
Okay.
are agenda.
well, hold on. I believe Supervisor Campbell would like to be here. The item or he wouldn't have suggested to do it. I don't.
That's correct.
Well, then let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and
We gotta respect everybody's wishes.
Mr. Rios,
Yes,
we'd like to be your case now.
well, I don't like waiting. Sorry, I just.
Supervisor Scanlon, was that correct?
There was just some confusion about whether or not.
I wasn't sure. It's not-
We'd like the full board here to hear it. So,
What item is it?
H2.
It's H,
Towards the end, right?
and I was at the bottom of the agenda, so that was my other concern.
we didn't find it.
It's the bottom of all of the other.
If you guys were awesome, you have your computer, you could just click right here instead of going through your papers.
Yeah, well,
I'm on it.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, it's before you.
Did you get that?
Yes.
That's Michelle, please.
I will. I will be sure to notate that in my meeting minutes.
What are your questions?
Oh. There you go. Give us some background. Background. Why did you share?
Well, I was supposed to bring it at mid-year and now I'm bringing it in fourth quarter because this is the first time I could come before you guys. So actually, this is not a new item. This was discussed in the summertime during budget committee hearings. And then it was approved in my budget. I just was supposed to bring it before you at mid-year for finalization. I was not able to get before you until today.
So if we would have took this in order, it'd take another 4 months to get up here. To the board.
We would be in the next, we would be in the next fiscal year. You certainly could. Look at all the money you've saved this year because of because of my delay in getting here. so that's all. It was just, I was supposed to do this in January and that just, didn't happen.
So what are we doing here, Melissa? Are we going from a
38 to 40.
38 to a 40?
County council was instrumental in authoring the resolution, so I thank him for his time on that.
Melissa, I really appreciate, your hard work and the fact that you kind of held the fort down when you're so poorly staffed.
Yes,
And,
that was a terrible year. I'd like to wipe that from my memory.
Well,
Thank you for bringing it up.
I'm only bringing it up in light of the fact that you did a very good job, holding it all down and together,
Thank you.
during that time. And, I'm in support of this.
Looking for any other comments?
I think that's good. So what's gonna be the pay difference?
I thought it was written in there. I'm sorry.
Well,
So
it's
it's less,
that it's less than 10%.
it's less than 8% actually right now.
So what's it gonna be then?
I think it was 12.
Well,
Yes.
that? Oh, no.
There's a
I
typo.
agree to receive the memo from the district attorney about the resolution increasing the base pay for the district.
I'll second that.
And I have a first and a second. Any other comment? Can we get a roll call vote, please, Michelle?
Supervisor Scanlon,
Yes.
Supervisor Neely,
Yes.
Supervisor Alba,
Aye.
Supervisor Ingram,
Aye.
Supervisor Bridges.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry you took so long
No,
today.
no, that's fine. I only had 4 cases at court today. So somebody else
Only
appeared,
4.
only 4. Well, that's,
That's little, that's just a drop in the bucket.
so I was just panicking because I will not only have 4 cases next Tuesday. So I couldn't come back next Tuesday or any other Tuesday. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna take a 2-minute break. Real quick. Maybe 3.